It was a quiet and peaceful night in the small town of Millfield, and the only sounds that could be heard were the rustling of the leaves and the occasional chirping of crickets. Emily had just finished her shift at the local diner and was walking back home alone. She had always been told to never walk alone at night, especially in this town, but she had never encountered any problems before. As Emily walked down the dimly lit street, she suddenly heard a rustling noise behind her. She turned around and saw a man walking towards her. He was wearing a hooded sweatshirt and had a smiley face mask covering his face. Emily felt a sense of unease, but she tried to remain calm and continued walking. The man walked up to her and said in a deep and menacing voice, "You shouldn't be walking alone at night. It's not safe." Emily felt her heart racing as she tried to walk away, but the man grabbed her by the arm and pulled her towards him. She tried to scream, but the man covered her mouth with his hand and whispered, "Don't make a sound or I'll hurt you." Emily felt a sense of dread wash over her as the man dragged her to a dark alley. She could see the smiley face on his mask, and it sent shivers down her spine. The man pushed her against the wall and started to touch her inappropriately. Emily tried to fight back, but the man was too strong. Suddenly, Emily heard a loud noise, and the man looked up. Emily took the opportunity to break free from his grasp and ran away as fast as she could. She didn't stop running until she reached her house. Emily immediately called the police and reported the incident. She described the man to the police as best as she could, but she couldn't remember many details about his appearance, other than his smiley face mask. The police searched the area, but were unable to find the man. The next day, Emily learned that she was not the only girl who had encountered the man in the smiley face mask. Several other girls had reported similar incidents in the past, but no one had ever been able to catch the man. Emily was afraid to leave her house at night after that, and she always made sure to have someone with her. She couldn't shake off the feeling of fear and unease that had settled in her chest. Months went by, and the man in the smiley face mask became a local legend. Parents warned their children about him, and people were afraid to walk alone at night. Some even claimed to have seen him lurking in the shadows. One night, a group of friends decided to go out to a party. They had a few drinks and were having a good time until it was time to go home. One of the girls, Sarah, had missed her ride and decided to walk home alone. As Sarah walked down the deserted street, she suddenly heard a rustling noise behind her. She turned around and saw the man in the smiley face mask walking towards her. She tried to run, but the man was too fast. He grabbed her by the arm and dragged her into a nearby alley. Sarah tried to scream, but the man covered her mouth and whispered, "Don't make a sound or I'll hurt you." Sarah felt a sense of dread wash over her as the man started to touch her inappropriately. She tried to fight back, but the man was too strong. Suddenly, Sarah heard a loud noise, and the man looked up. Sarah took the opportunity to break free from his grasp and ran away as fast as she could. Sarah ran as fast as she could, tears streaming down her face until she finally reached a well-lit street. She was shaking with fear and could barely catch her breath. She looked around, trying to find a place to hide, but the man was nowhere in sight. Sarah knew she had to call the police, but she didn't have her phone with her. She looked around and saw a gas station a few blocks away. She started running towards it, hoping to find a phone to call for help. As she entered the gas station, she saw a man behind the counter. He looked up and saw the fear in her eyes. "Are you okay?" he asked. Sarah tried to speak, but her voice was shaking too much. She just nodded her head and pointed towards the phone. The man understood and handed her the phone. Sarah dialed 911 and reported the incident to the police. She gave him a description of the man in the smiley face mask and told them where it had happened. The police arrived on the scene within minutes, but the man was nowhere to be found. Sarah was taken to the hospital for a medical examination and to make sure she was physically okay. The police took her statement and told her they would do everything they could to catch the man the next day. Sarah woke up to the news that the man in the smiley face mask had been caught. The police had received a tip from a neighbor who had seen a man wearing a hooded sweatshirt and a smiley face mask walking down the street late at night. The police had followed up on the tip and had arrested the man, who had confessed to his crimes. Sarah felt a sense of relief wash over her, but she couldn't shake off the feeling of fear and unease that had settled in her chest. She couldn't believe that someone could do such terrible things to innocent girls who were just trying to make it home safely. In the following weeks, the man in the smiley face mask went to trial. He was found guilty on multiple charges of sexual assault and kidnapping and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The town of Millfield breathed a collective sigh of relief, knowing that the man in the smiley face mask would never be able to hurt anyone again. But the memory of his crimes lingered on, and people were still afraid to walk alone at night. Sarah knew that she would never be able to forget what had happened to her. But she also knew that she was lucky to have escaped with her life. She vowed to never let her guard down again, and to always be aware of her surroundings, especially at night. The man in the smiley face mask became a cautionary tale, a warning to all those who thought they were invincible. He was a reminder that there are still monsters in this world, and that sometimes the scariest things are the ones we can't see coming. If you like my story, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video for more and similar stories.